The NewsReader meantime corpus is a semantically annotated corpus of 480 news articles in English, Italian, Spanish, and Dutch. Within the NewsReader project, the meantime corpus has been created as a benchmark to evaluate the event extraction pipeline. The meantime corpus is composed of news articles taken from Wikinews, an online multilingual collection of articles written in a collaborative manner. From Wikinews, we manually selected 120 articles in English. In particular, we focused on news articles about 4 topics, that is, Apple Incorporated, Airbus and Boeing, General Motors, Ford and Chrysler, and stock market. Then, we had the selected news articles translated by professionals into Dutch, Italian, and Spanish. The meantime corpus thus enables a fine-grained comparison of natural language processing tools across the different languages. The corpus is annotated both at the document and the corpus level. The document level annotation consists of markables, such as event mentions, entity mentions, numerical expressions, etc. Relations between markables. Examples of relations are temporal relations between event mentions and time expressions, or has participant relations between event mentions and entity mentions participating in the events. And finally, we have intra-document coreference for events and for entities. Annotation at the corpus level, on the other hand, includes annotation of cross-document coreference for events and entities, as well as the ordering of selected events on timelines. We perform document-level annotation using CAT, a web-based text annotation tool. We started with the English section. For each news article, we annotated the title, the document creation time, and the first 4 sentences. And here is a sample annotated sentence. Apple Incorporated today introduced the much anticipated iPhone at the Macworld conference in San Francisco. This sentence contains, for example, an entity mention of type organization, Apple, one of type product, iPhone, and one of type location, San Francisco. But we also annotated entity mentions of type person and financial. For event mentions, we distinguish 3 classes: speech cognitive, grammatical, and other. In this example, we have 2 event mentions, introduced and conference, both of type other. This sentence also contains a time expression, today, whose normalized value is January 10th, 2007. As far as the relations are concerned, we have, for example, a temporal relation between introduced and today. The event introduced also has relations of type has participants with entities participating in the event, such as Apple and iPhone. Using the same annotation tool, we were able also to annotate intra-document coreference, both for entity and for event mentions. In the example, we see that all the mentions used in the text to refer to iPhone, including the device, are linked to the same entity instance. Similarly, for the event instance introduced, we have 2 co-referring mentions, that is, introduces and introduced. For corpus level annotation, we used Cromer, a web-based tool that allows you to manually mark coreference across clusters of documents. In order to annotate cross-document entity coreference, we created a card for each entity instance. The instance card contains a unique identifier, several attributes, and, if available, a DBpedia URIs as external reference. All mentions of an instance occurring in the corpus were then linked to the instance card. We did the same also for events. An event instance is described in the instance card by a unique identifier and several attributes. Among them we mention, in particular, anchor time, participants, and, as external reference, the prop bank sense. The Dutch, Spanish, and Italian sections are translations of the English articles aligned at the sentence level. To speed up the annotation process, we thus took advantage of the alignment at the sentence level and applied a method of cross-lingual projection. First, we annotated the textual extent of markables, and then aligned them to the English markables. The English entity and event instances are shared with the other languages. The alignment of markables and the sharing of the instances allowed us to automatically project some information from English. More specifically, we were able to import the non-language specific attributes and the relations between markables. Last but not least, we converted the event timelines from English to all the other languages of the corpus. Through the alignment and projection, we also obtain cross-lingual coreference. In other words, entity and event mentions across different languages refer to a unique instance. For example, the mentions of White House in the 4 languages refer to the same instance, which is defined by its identifier and linked to the Wikipedia. And all the mention of the event considering refer to the same instance, which is identified by its identifier, its time anchor, and the entities participating in the event, in this case, White House. As said before, the meantime corpus is composed of 480 files in 4 languages. This amounts to around 170,000 tokens. For each language section, there are around 2,700 annotated entity mentions, 2,000 event mentions, with the exception of the Dutch section with about 1,500, and 500 time expressions. As far as relations between markables are concerned, in each section of the corpus there are on average 1,800 temporal relations, 2,000 has participant relations, and 2,900 refers to relations, which we use to annotate coreference chains. The other types of relations, on the other hand, are less well represented. Out of 964 events annotated in the English section of the corpus, 762 are shared by all 4 languages. Out of 785 annotated entities, the number of shared entities amounts to 568. The corpus is distributed on the NewsReader website under a Creative Commons Attribution license. More information about meantime is available in the scientific papers and annotation guidelines. The meantime corpus is a joint work of Fondazione Bruno Kessler, Freie Universität Amsterdam, and Universidad del País Vascos.